Thank you for this question. I love talking about this industry. I love being transparent about it, so let's get into it. By the way, my name is Keeley, and I am a Cuddle Therapist. At the risk of ruining my engagement and numbers, I'm going to tell you right off the bat, immediately, there's not going to be wait till the end, there's not going to be part two, the answer to this question. There's no licensure for cuddle therapy. There are different certification programs, there are standards and practices, but no licensure. Okay, so how can you call yourself a therapist? Okay, let's get clear on what licensure means, and let's get clear on what therapist means and whether or not it's a protected term. And as a caveat, all this information is pertinent to the United States. I don't know anything about any other countries. The word licensure is specifically referring to government-issued licenses, so government oversight. There is no government oversight or overseeing body that regulates the cuddle therapy industry. I also mentioned earlier the word protected. I said the words protected term. So what that refers to as any words, sequences of words, titles, names that the government has determined or enforces that those words mean this specific thing, cannot mean anything else, otherwise it would be considered fraud. So if you're familiar with looking for a therapist, if you've ever looked for a talk therapist before, and you've seen those letters after their name, some examples are like LMFT, LCSW. Is that sounding familiar? Those letters are used to indicate clearly the different kinds and variations of education that talk therapists get for their state. Some state-to-state requirements differ in what labeling they use. Their specialties, so for instance, the difference between someone who goes into the social work field versus goes into individual marriage and family therapy or counseling field, there can be differences there, and again, differences from state to state. An example is the term counselor. Many states, counselor is a protected term, so in order to call yourself a counselor, the state requires specific education in order to use that word, otherwise it's like legally enforceable. But in no state is just the word therapist covered. So why does this matter? What does this mean? Why is it important? Anyone like you, as the consumer, someone who is interested in hiring a cuddle therapist, there's more due diligence on your part to interview, have a consultation, look and ask about someone's education, their background, their trainings, their certification. It's just, there's more responsibility there as the consumer. Part of the reason for all of this is because cuddle therapy is a relatively new industry, as we're talking about using those words to describe this practice. So I'll use myself as an example. I have certifications with nearly every body, every school or institute that offers it. So Cuddleist certification from there since 2015, Cuddle Sanctuary out of Los Angeles, Certified Cuddlers out of Portland, Oregon, the International Cuddlers International, Certified Cuddlers International out of the UK. All these training programs have gone through. In addition to those programs, I've also rounded my education out with other therapeutic modalities. If you're familiar with IFS, I've taken IFS courses. I've also taken some coaching courses, Mindlight Institute out of Austin, Texas. I've taken Betty Martin work. I've taken emotional intelligence courses and trauma integration courses. So and all of this is available on my CV, and all of this is available on my website for anyone to see. So you can go through and see all the different things I've taken, all the education I've gotten. All of that has been a la carte. I've created it myself. And so there wasn't a school, there wasn't a college that I went to that had a standardized practice, which there are pros and cons of. Honestly, I got to custom tailor my own education to the things that were most relevant for me and most relevant to my clients, and didn't have to take a lot of fluff courses. I didn't have to take additional math courses. I didn't have to take additional, I still do have a collegiate degree, but it's not in this field. All the education that I got post-degree, that I was able to custom curate to be the most effective for my clients and the most specialized in what I do, and no fluff. And this video is already long, so I'll leave it there. That's a pretty good, I think, response to this, but I do have a little bit more to say on whether or not licensure equals good and no license equals bad. Like that whole topic, I'm going to make another video on. So if you're curious about it or want to know a little bit more, please check that one out.